Hi, I just wanted to hop on and share a little message today about my experience today in palliative care. The reason why I want to share this message is one, because my brother's wife is going through this exact moment at present with her father, who only probably has days, maybe a week at the most, left on this earth. And so today I was at palliative care, and when I reflect upon how many people are so afraid of dying, for many different reasons. We all have different reasons for that, whether that's been impacted from our upbringing as children and what we may have been taught around death, or hidden from, like as children, from participating in funerals, whatever it may be. Maybe it's our own fears of mortality, and there's a whole heap of reasons for that. For all of these experiences, for whatever reason that we're fearing death, even the dying who fear leaving this world, there's many reasons for that as well. And each of these experiences is unique to us all, but what I wanted to share was, one, this time of the year brings up so much remembrance around our loved ones that have passed, our loved ones that are about to pass, our loved ones that are experiencing terminal illness and it's imminent at some point, death. But today's experience in palliative care, for me, I'm not afraid of death. 7 years ago, I would have probably had different thoughts than what I have today. My thoughts are different because I've educated myself a lot on the afterlife. I've communicated with enough people to understand other people's fears, and I know what my experience is with spirit. Now, our experiences with spirit alone is different for everybody. Some people believe, some people don't. Some of us need factual information. Some of us are scientific with our thought base, with our thoughts and our beliefs. Doesn't really matter because at the end of the day, all we need to know is what our truth is, what experiences and what everything means to us in whatever that might be, but in relation to death. So today I was in palliative care, and when I arrived, I just sort of started in my activities or my tasks, and there was only actually now one resident at the hospice today who was actually going back home for Christmas. Anyway, so it was actually pretty quiet today. So I just thought, well, I'll do a couple of hours of work and then I'll disappear. And then as I started to move about, I went past one of the rooms this morning that was vacant. And wow, as I walked past the room, I felt this amount of energy overcome me. And I knew straight away that there was a spirit still present in that room. So not really knowing who had come and gone within the last week or 2 weeks, I knew that there was definitely a spirit still there, still there. And anyway, it was so strong, the spirit. I knew within myself that it needed to be cleared. However, that was meant to transpire. So I went and chatted to the nurses and told them what I felt, and they were more than happy for me to do my clearing. So I actually did a pranic energy clearing, but I also assisted the spirit into the light. And this is what I want to talk about, because my sister-in-law, her father, who is very close to saying goodbye to this human existence, my heart goes out to her and all of her family and what they're going through at the moment. They are a family with all of my nieces and nephews who aren't feeling joyous about Christmas, which has been a message of mine also this week. And so I went then into this room to do a clearing, and whatever I felt needed to take place. Now I do have a bit of a gift when I feel energy. My gift is in my ability with pranic energy healing. And so the energy that I felt, not knowing who had been in the room, I never asked any questions. I prefer not to know. I just prefer to work with what I feel is coming through. That means more to me. Anyway, so I sort of went in with the intention just to sort of feel what I felt and do what I needed to do, because I know what I do is guided by spirit. It's guided by God, as in I feel entrusted to be in this space to help people either cross over or just clear energies. Because when you think about the amount of energies that are coming and going through, as example, hospices, there's a lot of souls coming and going, but there's also all the family members that are grieving, that are got this heightened energy, which can be sort of, like in some ways dense energy, because it's sadness, it's connected to fear, it's connected to many different emotions. And so when I was in the room, I just started to feel and just stand in the presence of that space, and I felt a female energy. So I'm sharing this for anyone that kind of wants to understand a little bit what might be taking place. And I share it to help reassure people that there's nothing to fear. And so I stood in this space and I could feel a definite feminine energy. So I felt like it was a female. And I actually felt a massive amount of confusion. The confusion to me, as I understand it, not immediately, but upon reflection, was the confusion. I'll come to that actually in a minute. But there was a huge amount of confusion, like just this confusion in the mind. So I felt that, and I felt that that they were confused because they didn't know where they were. So that reflection that I had since, to me, felt like they didn't know. They thought they were still on Earth, but yet they didn't know where they were because it was just like this confusion. And anyway, so I encouraged them to look all around them to see the light. I was encouraging and communicating with them, not that I could see them. I couldn't see them as a physical human. I could just feel their energy. And I was encouraging them to look around and see where the light was around them, because the light would have been around them. And what I was feeling was that they were just constantly focused on myself, with just confusion. And anyway, I was calm, I was peaceful in that moment, and I kept reassuring that there was light for them to see. I had mentioned to them, excuse me, I just had lunch, so I'm just clearing my lunch. I had communicated to them that their family was around them. And anyway, so it then, because they weren't able to comprehend what I was communicating through the confusion, I had to gesture to look to the light, and I kept pointing to the light. I couldn't see anything that was specifically light, but what I actually saw was an entourage of angels, and what it felt like was ancestors. There was this huge line of spirit. And so I kept pointing and kept saying, look at the light. And anyway, there was still that confusion, and not really, it was as if they couldn't comprehend what I was communicating, which I haven't really experienced it like that before. And anyway, so then whilst I had done that, then I was feeling I could feel there was just like this dark kind of heavy energy in the room. And it just felt like there was just a build-up of dirty energy within the room. And so I started clearing and cleansing all of the space that was within that room through my pranic energy healing, and releasing it out into the ethers. So I actually sent all the energy out the door. That's just what I felt inclined to do. And then after I had kind of done that, I sort of had focused back on to the lady again, the female energy that I was feeling, and felt that they had moved closer to where I saw or felt the entourage of spirit. And they were just kind of there, and they were still focused on me. And I was reflecting on that, and I feel they were probably reflecting on that or seeing me in the sense that they probably saw my light. And as much as I feel that my light would have been reassuring for them, they still held the confusion. But then I felt them have this energy of regret. And the energy, I really felt the regret, actually, that they were regretting something about their life. So then I just reassured them from my heart. I reassured them that they lived the best life that they could. They did the best that they could. And there's nothing for them to fear. There's nothing for them to regret. And then I encouraged again for them to turn around, and I kept pointing and gesturing to the light. And then at that point, I felt spirit kind of was able to take over. And then I knew within myself that I'd done all that I had to do in that moment, in that transition. And this is what I want to sort of share a little bit about. Now, everything that I say doesn't mean it's absolute truth. For me, what I share is truth, because I know it without a doubt, what I see, what I sense, and what I feel. And I feel when our soul leaves the body, there's this like space in time, this void, as we walk what I understand and have learned through other people. It's called the Rainbow Bridge. And this Rainbow Bridge is the bridge we walk between this world and the next. And the only reason why I know that is through a mentor that I follow, who is called Amanda Ellis. And I've had my own experiences with that, with, say, my son and Archangel Metatron. So I know that to be true. I don't doubt that for one moment. And so I believe in my understandings and learnings that when the soul leaves the body, we walk this rainbow bridge. So this is like a little transition between earth and then back to where we came from, spirit world, the universe, whatever that might look like for you. And that rainbow bridge is where angels and archangels and all of our ancestors help us move and transition to home. And so that's everything that I experienced today with this beautiful soul. Now, I didn't know anything about who, the energy that I was feeling into. I just knew that it was absolute 1000%. A spirit was there in that room. And then when I communicated with the nurses, the cleansing and the clearing that I did, they confirmed, or they actually mentioned to me, that someone last night had passed away. She was a female and she actually had dementia. So her dementia, the confusion, which I felt was just like all in here, was still connected to her, because she still felt that she was, well, she didn't know where she was. She was feeling as if she was still in this earthly world, but probably because of everything that she had experienced, just even with dementia, must have just created so much confusion as to, where am I now? And that's what I picked up on. And so I wanted to share this journey, because I feel all of these experiences that I have within my work enable me to share what I'm experiencing, either with spirit or with others, so that you, if you're going through these experiences, or it's just providing knowledge and information now, so that when death does touch your life, that you can feel a little bit more reassured that, one, there is nothing to fear. I honestly myself do not fear death. I really don't. And I can only say that based on what I experience with my connection with spirit. Not all of us are probably as connected as maybe another with our intuition. It's available to all of us to do so. And so, because I've been so open to that journey, and that is constantly expanding, I know that I'm not alone on this earth. Because even if there wasn't anybody around me, I know I always have spirit around me. There is so many experiences that I have with spirit, either through animals or angels themselves, and the amount of messages that come to me, even in dream. And because I explore what's being communicated to me, you do have to be a bit of a sleuth. This is all available to all of us if we're open to connect. And so anyone at this time of the year, I share this message more so for people that might be sort of, I guess, on this journey, going through terminal illness, feeling like we have limited time on this earth, or just family members, anyone that's right in the angst and the heaviness and the despair of death and dying. Please know that there's nothing to fear. And you do actually even have an opportunity to connect to your angels to help you guide you through that process. So I share this message with absolute compassion in my heart. One, especially for my brother and his wife at the moment, who knows that this imminent death is just around the corner, and all of her family, all of my nieces and nephews. I love you loads. And it's a beautiful time, as much as it feels very tragic as well. So thank you for listening. Namaste.